Take a moment to let the face relax, your shoulders hang loose. Come in. Even, unflex the feet and the hands. And just notice where you might be clenching. And just keep taking some nice cleansing breaths. I like to imagine that as I breathe in, I'm breathing in all this clean, bright goodness, and I breathe out all the negativity and all things that don't serve me. Notice how you feel. Do you feel light, heavy, restless, or still? Are there any aches or pains? Are you able to focus on the breath, or are there nagging thoughts in front? At the end of the day, just honor wherever you're at. Honor what you brought to the mat, because coming to the mat is the hardest part. So I guess the thought for today, because I don't really have too much of a theme, but I do have a thought that I was thinking about actually on the car ride back from the vet. And I was also thinking about my phone's wallpaper, because I just recently changed it. I found a cute picture of It's a Small World ride from Disneyland, and so I put it on. I've been very obsessed with Disneyland. But the one that I had before, it was a white wallpaper picture, and it had a cute little alien in the middle. But it got to a point, like where you see the same picture over and over again, you kind of wash it in the background. But I picked it initially because it said, "You are a good thing just the way you are." And I've been thinking a lot about this insecurity of not being enough, and then fill in the blank. For me, I feel insecure about my intelligence. Um, I've just always been around so many smart people my whole life. My parents are very bright. My sister is a really smart woman. She says she's an Enneagram 7, but I swear she's an Enneagram 3. Like crazy, smart achiever. My partner is so smart. My friends are all so smart. And it's hard because sometimes I don't think that I'm that smart because I went to a different profession than computer science or lawyer or nurse, like some of my closest girlfriends are. But that sign was really helpful. Like, you are a good thing just the way you are, because it's true. Because you see these amazing things in others and you think that you're less than because of that. But what you're not seeing is that's who you are, just in a different way. You know, I'm not a science person, never have been, never will be. Um, but I'm smart in other ways that they might not. So this is a reminder today that even through the mat here, right? Like, we're all learning. I sometimes get insecure about how I teach and how I am on the mat, but just trying and knowing that you are enough is half the battle, because there are so many people who do not know what they're doing and do it anyway. And sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's not. But it's in the knowing that you are enough and you're smarter than you think. You are a good thing, just the way you are. In a few moments, we're going to wiggle the fingers and toes and slowly open the eyes. But come to on your own beat. With more toes. If your feet feel like they've been, sleepy a little bit, feel free to kind of change the position you're in. I find it's also kind of nice if you're having with like hip, where you just want a little bit of a better stretch. All right, so we're going to do some side stretches. So we're going to take the left hand, bring it on over, and then we're going to bring the right. And then come back to center. And then we're going to bring the right hand down, left arm all the way up and overhead. Notice how much pressure you're putting on your hands. If you want to do a flat hand and really get in that stretch, feel free. Or you can kind of bring your just your fingertips, make a little tent. And then come back to center. And so we're going to take the right hand onto the left knee, left hand behind. Don't go to twist just yet. Just come into this position and just sense how you feel. Are you clenching your legs or your feet? And then whenever you're ready, take a nice deep breath in. As we go out, we look past our left shoulder if you can. Make sure your back is nice and straight. Come back to center. And the same thing on the other side. We're going to take the left hand onto the right knee, right hand to the back. Don't twist just yet. Just get comfortable in this position. Feel free, like again, like if you're going to do flat hand or on your fingertips, whatever works. And then nice deep breath in. And as we breathe out, we'll twist a little bit deeper, looking over the right shoulder. And untwist. And then we're gonna get up and we're actually gonna come into child's pose. We're gonna slowly transition. Keep feeling comfy. So if you both ways, either or, you can either have your knees together or your knees as wide as your mat and your feet together. Either way, I like to kind of just get into position. I like to sit up on my feet just to make sure that my hips feel nice and straight. And then slowly bring my butt down and bring my hands out in the front and just sink in. If you're having issues with hips, feel free to grab a pillow, a little bit of comfort in between your legs. Take a moment here to think of a few things that you're really good at. You were talking about you're a good thing just the way you are. What sort of things are you good at? Um, it's kind of funny. I'm the one who proposed this idea, but even I'm having a hard time thinking of that. I'm good at making people happy. Um, I'm good at having conversations and making people feel like they're welcome. And I'm often good at, being the tech support for my coworkers or my dad. What are you good at? So we're gonna do a few moments of just flowing in this pose, and whatever that looks like for you, feel free to kind of walk at your own beat. What I like to do is kind of just like come up and kind of flow all the way to the front of my mat, kind of come back, and then maybe you move your hips side to side, but don't go too fast. Or maybe even just taking a few more moments in child's pose is most comfortable for you. Notice what you need. Wherever you're at, come back to child's pose. Take another breath or two to kind of come back to your center. And with that, we're going to slowly rise up. If you had a pillow in between your legs, move it. We're basically going to find ourselves in cat cow or in tabletop to transition to cat cow. And if your knees were as wide as your mat, it's a bit easy to transition to. Tuck your toes or bring the fronts of your feet to the ground, your choice. Take a second here to kind of really feel the earth and feel the mat under your feet. in your hands. Take a few seconds here. And when you feel stable, drop the belly, lift the head, and breathe in. And as we breathe out, we're going to bring the spine in and tuck the chin to chest, and we're going to push away from the mat. Breathe in, belly down, and head up. Breathe out, roll in. Always try to keep pushing away. Go ahead and do a few on your own. It's always nice to time it with the breath. It's a nice practice. And whenever you feel good to go, we'll come back to neutral. I was doing a practice with somebody else, and I really loved the simplicity of what we're about to do, where we were just in neutral, but we were pushing off from the mat. We were just in this. And it's funny because I feel like this is a really good like transition, right? Like you're often either going into cat-cow or you're about to push up into down facing dog from this pose. But just being in this pose here, just holding it, was surprisingly kind of difficult. And take a moment to kind of feel, how does your back feel? Does it feel a bit more rounded? And it's funny, I have a mirror here now. But it's funny because it's really showing me that, like, for example, my neutral tabletop, like it's always kind of been like this a little bit, but I'm like, oh, like, yeah. So it's really interesting with how such a small adjustment can be done to make things a little bit better. With having pushing the hands into the ground, pushing the body away. This will be easier if your toes are tucked, where we're just going to lift up our knees. And we're going to hold this for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And let go down to the ground. We're going to, if your toes were tucked, untuck them, bring your knees together, and just come up into kneeling. We can just do a few shoulder rolls while we're here. Just gonna get back to the breath. You bring your head side to side. And the other way. Alright. So from here, we're going to keep our left knee, left foot down. We're going to bring our right foot up. So we're in like a nice little lunge position. So we're going to bring the left hand where the left foot would normally be right beside the right. And we're going to do a little bit of a twist here. Come back down. And then we're gonna I like to shuffle my left knee back a little bit. We're gonna go a little bit of a runner stretch. So we're gonna bring the butt and the legs back, but we're gonna keep the heel down on the ground. Nice little stretch. And come back. We're gonna switch sides. We're gonna bring the right foot, right knee back, and bring the left foot up. Bring the right hand where the to be parallel with the left foot. And we're gonna slowly bring the left arm up in a nice twist. And come back down. Tuck the back foot, and we're gonna do a runner stretch here. And come back. And then we're gonna come back to that neutral. But we're not staying here long. We're gonna extend that right foot out and left foot out to come into a nice plank. We're gonna hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're gonna bend the elbows and come on down to our bellies. Yogi's choice. You can either do cobra or upwards facing dog. A nice shoulder, nice stretch in the chest. And come back down. Bring your hands to your sides, tuck in the toes, lift up, and come into downward facing dog. Unload the feet a little bit. Notice how your hands are. Notice how your feet move. Notice how your back feels. And from here, we're going to drop those knees and come back into, we'll do a neutral. What I like to do is I like to put, we're going to thread the needle, but we can do it either 2 different ways. Either you can thread the needle by being in that neutral tabletop, or I like to also have my knees as wide as my mat, my feet together as though I'm going into child's pose, whichever way works. And then we're gonna have the right hand stay where it is. We're gonna bring the left arm all the way up. And then we're gonna bring that left arm underneath the right and sink down so that the left ear touches the ground. And then feel free to bring that right arm all the way to the front of your mat. I think one of the more surprising things for me in this pose is that my right arm, like the one that's kind of holding up, it shakes a little bit. One of the different positions to be in. And don't worry if your butt's sticking out. Mine is. Slowly bring your right hand a little bit closer to you as you lift off and come back into that neutral position. Adjust your pants if you need. And we're going to keep that left hand where it is, and we're going to extend the right arm all the way up. And then bring that right arm underneath the left. Bring your right ear to the ground. Bring your left hand out. And for bonus points, take the two edges of your mouth and bring it up into a smile.
You are a good thing just the way you are. Alright. We're gonna unravel, come back to neutral. Then we're gonna come onto the ground and we're gonna bring our legs out in front of us. Feel free to adjust your clothing as needed. Again, this is kind of another interesting pose, kind of like tabletop where it's a transitional pose. Well, instead, we're gonna just bring our hands to the ground and we're gonna, our hands to our side, and we're just gonna push as though we're kind of trying to lift ourselves and our butt off the ground, but we aren't. Feel free to kind of bring your shoulder blades in and down. And we're just gonna hold. Kind of one of this pose is kind of one of those lessons that with anything can be difficult if you make it. It's kind of like when you do like a traditional tadasana, like mountain pose. Like that is the same sensation I'm feeling now, where you're shaking because you're just trying to hold it. 3, 2, 1. Release your hands. We're going to bring that left foot, bring it to the inner right thigh. Wiggle the toes. Bring our arms up. And bend over. Head to knee. Feel free, if it feels good just to be in this kind of pose right now, go for it. But if you're practicing bringing your head to your knee, feel free to bring your knee up closer to you. And then test it out. Like, okay, I can put my head at this length. What about this? I can do that? Okay, cool. So it's using our stretch. Making sure you're flexing both your feet to protect the knee joint. And slowly come up. And we're going to change feet, so we're going to extend that left foot out. Bring that right foot to the inner left thigh. Adjust your pelvic, and adjust your sit bones as needed. Arms up to the sky. And bend over that left foot. Again, feel free to practice where your head can come to your knee. Making sure to flex your feet, both of them while you're in this pose. Make sure you drop the shoulders from your ears. Whenever you're ready, you can slowly come up. And extend that right foot out. Feel free to wiggle the toes. Do, 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 do. All right, bring your arms all the way up. And Bend over both feet. Bend over both legs. You are a good thing just the way you are. No matter what pose you're in, what sort of sequence or transition, you are wonderful. If you want an extra little bit of stretch, feel free to bring your chin to your chest for extra stretching. Take a few more deep breaths here. And on your own time, you can slowly come back up. As I wake up my iPad again. And so we're going to come down with our backs to the ground, but we're going to bring our legs all the way up. And bring your hands down to the ground. We're going to feel a little bit of a core thing here. Normally we would, like this is legs up on the wall. So normally if you have a wall, if you have a free space to put your legs on the wall, feel free to do that. But this is also another way. This is a little bit more challenging because you don't have that wall for support. You're simply using your core muscles to keep your feet up. Make sure your feet are flexed. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to bring our arms up so that the palms are facing the front of the mat and they're facing your legs. We're going to go to dead bug, which is a good core activity. What we're going to do is we're going to alternate. So we're going to bring that the back of our left hand to the back of the we're going to alternate so that we're going to lower the left arm and the right leg at the same time, but keeping our right arm and our left leg up. And come back to center. Now lower the right hand or the right arm and the left leg. And come back to center. And then we're going to connect with the breath to go inhale, lower left hand, right leg. And exhale, bring it back to center. Inhale, lowering the left leg, right arm back. And exhale, bring it back to center. We'll just do this a few times. Take a few moments to even it out. And come back to neutral. Then we're going to take the hands, we're going to grab the outer edges of our feet and come into happy feet. We're going to eventually, the legs will naturally separate a little bit. And feel free to use those hands to kind of push your knees lower to the ground.
And if you're inclined like I am, feel free to crack your toes while you're in this position. They're very close. Take a moment here to think about what makes you so special. Because you are a good thing just the way you are. What's something that you can recognize that makes you special? I'm special because I bring a joy that no one else can. I get excited about a lot of different things. I'm special because I exist, and you are special because you exist. If you'd like, you can definitely try extending your legs out. Normally, I'm pretty good at this, but today I'm struggling. Whenever you're ready, you're going to take your hands and you're going to bring the soles of your feet together. And then see if you can push them together as you slowly bring your legs down to the ground with your knees as wide as your mat. And then nice reclined forward pose. And just rest. If your feet kind of splay out a little bit, but your heels are touching, that's totally. It's the action of being able to kind of give your hips a nice stretch. And feel free to drop the tension in your shoulders, face. We're eventually going to transition to Shavasana. But if this feels relaxing and helpful for you, feel free to stay here. If you want to transition to our final pose, feel free to extend your legs. Just let them forward. Connect back with the breath. Take a nice deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And do some deep breathing. Let the thoughts flow by. And get fixated on them, trying to solve things. Think about the next thing you'll do. Just let yourself be soaking up the fruits of your labor. Hello. Few moments to wiggle the toe, wiggle the finger. If you need an extra few moments, feel free to roll over onto your right side. Knees up to your belly, nice and fetal position. And whenever you're ready, no rush, come meet me. I'm sitting in this pleasant position. Thank you very much for joining me. So we'll take a few minutes to bring, or a few set moments to bring our hands together in prayer. Indulge me for a moment. I'm closing the eyes, bowing our heads to our hands. Take a few moments to think about our families and our friends. Think about those who we've lost and are at peace. And think about the world and hope that there will be peace. And think about our loved ones and hope they're doing great, and that any negative moments that come at them, they can handle it with grace and humility. But most of all, we think about ourselves and hope that whatever season we're in, we can handle whatever comes our way and bring joy and peace wherever we go. And bring our thumbs to the third eye. And as we bow to one another, say thank you. Thank you for being here.